If you were paying attention to the news last year, I don't think it was possible to miss the media hype about the NASA InSight mission to Mars. But after it successfully landed, there's hardly been any mention of it since. So what were its mission goals on the Martian surface? And has it achieved anything now that it's been there for almost a year? I'm Alex McColgan and you're watching Astrum, and together we will find out exactly what InSight has discovered on Mars so far. Let's begin with a quick recap of the mission. InSight launched from Earth in May 2018 and landed on Mars in November of the same year. Unlike a lot of the other NASA missions to Mars, this is a robotic lander, not a rover. In fact, it shares a lot of similarities and technology with a previous NASA mission called Phoenix, although they had quite different science goals. InSight's main objective is to investigate the seismology of the planet, whereas Phoenix was more interested in the past and present habitability of Mars. The last thing you probably saw of the InSight mission was this image, the first image InSight sent back to Earth. But there have been a lot of interesting things that have taken place since then, so let's see exactly what happened after it landed. The first thing InSight did was send back signals to Earth that it had touched down safely and sent the famous first image. As you can see, a lot of dust had been kicked up by the landing, as InSight used descent rockets to slow its fall. A camera pointed under the lander reveals the effects of the rockets, which carved out mini craters under the craft. InSight was programmed to wait a few hours for the dust to settle before deploying its two circular solar panels, as dust settling on the panels themselves would affect the efficiency. InSight quickly began collecting data, even before deploying any of the science instruments. The first thing it recorded was the Martian wind, picked up by vibrations sensed by the seismometer still on the lander. And this is what it sounded like, although I should note that you will probably either need a subwoofer or headphones to hear this. This has not been sped up. These are literally the vibrations caused by Martian wind going over the solar panels of the lander. The frequency of the vibrations converted to audio. For the benefit of those who can't hear it, here it is pitched up by 2 octaves. InSight can also detect changes in air pressure. Here is the air pressure changing as wind blows across the lander. This audio has been sped up by a factor of 100 for it to be within human hearing range. What is fascinating though is that we don't have to just imagine the wind passing by InSight, as it was also able to capture footage of water ice clouds passing by overhead, visibly showing the direction of the wind. Yes, although Mars is currently a barren wasteland, there is still a tiny amount of water vapor in the atmosphere. Almost immediately after landing, InSight was taking 3D images of its surrounding area in order to find the perfect spot to place the seismometer. Based on those 3D images, NASA recreated this area as accurately as possible, even going as far as using the HoloLens augmented reality headset to match up the surface of Mars with the environment they were recreating. The seismometer is extremely sensitive and had to be placed directly on the surface, avoiding any rocks that would affect the placement of it and of its windshield. As you've already heard, wind is easily detectable by the seismometer, so the windshield had to fully enclose it to protect it from potentially contaminated measurements. Once the go-ahead was given, InSight carefully used its robotic arm to place the seismometer on the surface of the planet. From there, it could detect the faintest vibrations, from Marsquakes to meteors impacting the surface close by. But what is the point of all this? Well, when a specific part of the surface of a planet vibrates, a ripple propagates through the planet's interior. Listening out for the echoes, scientists can determine the internal structure of Mars. They would then correlate the data collected with the other main scientific instrument on board InSight, namely the Heat Flow and Physical Properties package, which is a combination of a drill and a hammer with a very accurate temperature sensor to measure how efficiently heat transfers through the Martian core. The mole, as they call it, tried to dig 5 meters down, taking temperature readings every 10 centimeters, extrapolating these readings to estimate the thickness of the Martian crust. Unfortunately, the mole got stuck only 30 centimeters down and is currently unable to recover. It probably hit a very hard rock, or the soil simply didn't provide enough friction, which tilted the mole before it had fully exited its housing, getting stuck in this position. Again, ground-based teams tried to replicate the problem and look for a safe way to pick up the housing around the mole and use the robotic arm to straighten its course. Putting their plan to action on Mars, the operation was successful. The housing was lifted off, exposing the mole, but no further progress has been made as of this moment. Latest plans are to try and use the robotic arm to push down on the soil right next to the mole, hopefully giving it the friction it needs to start digging deeper, if friction really was the problem. Luckily, the seismometer was more successful. In April of this year, it detected its first Marsquake. And this is what it sounded like. Again, the vibrations have been sped up by a factor of 60, as the frequency would not be audible to the human ear. While data like this doesn't need to be converted to audio for scientists to use, it is useful for the lay person so they can better grasp what is going on. What you will notice though is how sensitive this seismometer is. Even under the windshield, it still picks up vibrations caused by the wind. And even the robotic arm moving can be easily detected, even though it's a few meters away. Lastly, InSight is acting a little like a weather station on Mars, with instruments detecting wind, air pressure, and air temperature. As you can see, even at the equator, Mars is a chilly -25°C at its warmest at the moment, bottoming out at -100°C. We are also seeing some gusts of up to 60 km an hour, and low air pressures, about 6 millibars compared to Earth's 1 bar. So there you have it. As you can tell, InSight has had some ups and downs, but the overall health of the lander is good, and it will hopefully be collecting data for a while yet, assuming not too much dust settles on its panels. This data will provide a more and more accurate 3D model of the interior of Mars, providing evidence of what Mars once looked like and how it formed in the first place. And if the mole can get functioning again, we'll be able to get data for the heat flow under the surface too, to find out if there really is an active mantle under the surface still or not. So keep an eye out for this mission in the coming months and years. Thanks to NordVPN for sponsoring today's episode. For those of you that don't know, a VPN is a virtual private network, which allows you to securely surf the web as if you were anywhere on Earth. Mars sadly doesn't have any servers added yet. But for me this is super useful, as although I'm British, I live most of the time in Switzerland, and it is highly annoying for me when I go on Netflix and they region lock the English audio tracks out of the shows or films I want to watch, and only give German as an option, or completely region lock certain shows from being viewed at all. So to lower my blood pressure, with NordVPN I can connect to a UK server and enjoy watching what I want, how I want. Are you ever using a public connection and are concerned it's not secure? Turn NordVPN on and your data is now encrypted. You can use it for your home or mobile device, which is handy when you're on the go. So use the link nordvpn.org/Astrum found in the description and you can get 75% off their 3-year plan. The nordvpn.org/Astrum link will also get you 1 month for free, so don't miss out. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy Mars, check out this playlist of other Mars videos here. And of course, a big thank you to my patrons and members that support the channel. If you want to support too and see your name listed here, find the links in the description. All the best and see you next time.